Hello guys, and man, it has been way too long since I've done this. Back to work on models. Actually, I've been working on models for a while now, but I haven't really been posting any videos on it. Mainly because I am lazy. Yes, I'm very lazy, and it takes a little bit of energy and time to compose these videos, edit them, put the effects in, and so forth. And of course, you know, the ages long upload time it takes for me to upload these onto YouTube, so I just kind of lost track of it, you know? It's been kind of a busy, hectic time, especially with getting school out of the way. And I finally got my associate's degree of engineering. Yes! Oh, that feels really good. Of course, now I have to go to a university, which I'm going to do this fall, get my full degree, my bachelor's degree at least, of engineering, and get all of this stuff out of the way so that I can get onto the career path that I've always dreamed of, which is designing things that people can use in their everyday life, or even get, you know, good enough to get into the aerospace program, which I've always loved. You know, I've always been a big fan of aerospace engineering, and it just, I've always said, if even if I could just, you know, design the cup holders on those things, you know, of a spaceship or something like that, then I would just be thrilled out of my mind, because, you know, I'd be part of a bigger thing than myself, you know. Well, anyway, enough about me. Let's talk about what I'm doing right now. Well, I guess it's still kind of about me, but anyway. I am back to work on another Pro Shop X-Wing fighter. And you may be thinking, well, why would you be wasting your time on another one? Why don't you do something interesting like that Klingon Bird of Prey that you were working on, or maybe a motorized Imperial shuttle, or the Starship Enterprise kit? Well, the thing is, that other model, I didn't post a video. Well, I did, but I didn't post the final, you know, painting video of that one, and I didn't finish it before. I didn't finish the video shoot before I sent it off to my niece, and so, you know, I can't really post anything that I did on that, and I'd like to kind of use this opportunity to do more with the video. Another thing is that the older one was not quite up to snuff. I think it didn't really have it didn't have all the mods that I wanted to do, because, you know, time crunch and that sort of thing. So I wanted to do another one and do it up the way that I want it done. You know, something really nice and accurate. Something that looks like the physical miniatures they used for the Star Wars movies. So anyway, with that in mind, let's talk about what I've done so far. And here we are. This is my, as always, messy workbench. Oh man, it seems like every time I clean this thing, it gets as dirty as it was, you know, 5 minutes before I started. Anyway, like before, I'm really trying to make this as good as I can, and I think my skill level has raised slightly since I've done that, since I did the last X-Wing. So this should be a lot better than before. What I've done so far is, first of all, I took and filled in all the panel lines in the fuselage, and actually, oh, come on, focus. Yeah, there we go. All on the nose, the panel lines are actually fairly shallow because of the mold draft issues. So if you just take a piece of a sander, or a belt sander of some kind, or actually I use a handheld sander from Black & Decker, you can actually just sand them right off, right down to the bare plastic. And you know, because Bondo has this tendency to shrink, sorry about that. It has a tendency to shrink, and so even if you do fill in the panel lines with that stuff, which I've done, you'll still get a slight indentation, which you actually can fill with primer. But I would prefer to. I'd prefer not to have to do that. And also, this allows me to rescribe without my scriber maybe accidentally going into the other panel line, the old panel lines like here, and it'll allow me to make a cleaner scribe, I think. And of course, you know, I did that on the bottom hull too. I haven't sanded straight through those yet, but I'm going to get to that. Anyway, I've also, this time around, instead of using the kit parts for the intakes, as I call them, I've cut out the old ones. Got a couple of them here. I cut out all the these intake-looking things, and I'm going to replace them with these. I got a whole bunch of these little resin engine bell things. I hate this camera, it doesn't want to focus. I got a whole bunch of these engine bells from at Wonderfest from a friend of mine a few years ago, and they really haven't come in handy until now. These are actually a perfect size to replicate the Saturn V rocket engines that were used on the original miniatures. And so what I've done is, see if I can find this piece. And this is so messy. But then again, I kind of like it that way because everything's right in front of me. I took a piece of styrene, took a piece of styrene and cut it to shape so that it will fit inside this intake area. And then after I had to go out and buy some super glue because I didn't realize that I'm flat out. And I'm going to super glue that on there and maybe glue a couple of little nubbins and greebles and things right there for the I don't know what you call it, some kind of reverse thruster or something like that that's on the tip here. There's originally in the actual kit piece they used, it's really the combustion chamber for that thing. But anyway, it also has a small vertical stab thing, which I'll put on later. Also, what I'm going to do with this kit is I'm not only just going to have the engine lights lit up and the cockpit lights, but I'm going to put in on the wingtips here. I saw in Return of the Jedi, and it took me years to notice this, but I noticed that on the wingtips, when the X-Wing is parked, there's some green lights that are on the wingtips. And because you're looking at the starboard side of the ship, you know, logically, those are the anti-collision or the position marker lights. And so what I've done is I've channeled out a little slight channel here, and I got an LED. I got 2 green and 2 red LEDs, and I'm going to take a bit of this wire here and I'm going to lay it down in there and super glue it in place. And these position markers, as well as the floodlights, are going to be controlled by a single switch. Because, you know, the only time those are on is when the X-Wing is parked. Then it really only makes sense to have them just on one single circuit, as opposed to having multiple switches, you know, which is more expensive. And so I'm a cheapo, so I'm gonna just keep it as simple as possible. And anyway, let's see what else. Of course, I took off all this nasty garbage here. I have no idea why they put all this crud here, but they just put a whole bunch of random raised details on there, and it's kind of ugly. And you know, it's not like the miniature, which had like piping that goes through here. And I'm also going to put in an extra piece of styrene right here to replace the area on the wings, like right here. This actually should be kind of a trapezoid shape, or maybe it's a pyramid, I don't know. I'll say trapezoid, with a smaller greeble box on top of it. Oh, and while we're on the subject, I'm also going to fill in this kind of a triangular section here so that the line continues from this window thing here all the way up to the end over here, which is the way it was in the miniatures, and I think it looks better that way because, you know, it's kind of odd having it squared off like that. I really don't know what they were thinking when they did that. But anyway, back to the more interesting things here. I have completely repaneled all 4, sorry about that, all 4 of the cowlings for the engines. And one of these here, yeah, this one, I put in a new backing, a new styrene backing. And anyway, to kind of go over what I did for this, basically I just took it out to my belt sander sanded everything off. You know, it just made it a smooth half cylinder. Then I took some ribbed styrene, held it against my little handheld sander, the one I mentioned a second ago, and took it and made it as thin as possible, so that it would, so it wouldn't like be as raised off the surface as it was before. Then after I did that, I put all these extra panels on and everything, and then finally along the rim here, because this camera just does not want to focus, does it? Because on the actual part there is a kind of a lip, which, you know, in the original kit, that's from a Saturn V rocket kit, and this is a this is kind of an alignment ring to get the sections to align whenever they whenever you reassemble and disassemble the rocket. So anyway, I'm about to run out of space in my camera, so I'm just going to stop recording for a second, which is why you're going to see a bump in the footage, and then I'll empty my card and get back to you in a second.